Today's topic is called the Conspirators of the Crafty Council.
Continue.
The other always goes into high level stuff. He's been doing that college level stuff, so I'm gonna try to follow that.
Right.
Try to follow that example. Psalms 83 verse 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lift up the head.
So, hold on, sorry. Let me get to go over that. Read it again, I'm sorry.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lift up the head.
So, it says, thy enemies make a tumult. They that hate you lift up the head. I mean, they've gained strength, they've gained authority or power on the earth. That's what he's talking about. Go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
So, they have taken crafty counsel against... Matter of fact, read verse 2 one more time.
For lo, thine enemies...
Stop. He says, lo, thine enemies. This is David speaking to the Most High. So the Most High has enemies. All right, keep that in mind. The Most High has enemies. Read it again.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Meaning they're all a gathering, an angry mob. Go ahead.
And they that hate thee have lift up the head.
They that hate you, your enemies, have lifted up their head. They've gained pride, they've gained authority. Go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
Your enemies have taken crafty counsel against your people, is what David's saying. That's why he's saying in verse 1, be not silent, be not still. Because your enemies are doing these things. Go ahead.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And they consulted against your hidden ones. Who are the hidden ones? We are. So the nationality is going to be hidden from us. So we're called the hidden ones. All right? Go to Deuteronomy 32, verse 26. Deuteronomy 32 and 26. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 26. I said, I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
So that's what he did. He used the enemies to do that. Read it again.
I said, I would scatter them into corners.
I said I would scatter them into corners, meaning into captivity. Go ahead.
I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
And I will cause the remembrance of them of who they are today to cease from among men. Because you ask who the Jews are, they're going to point to the white folks over there. Or the white folks over there in Brooklyn. Alright, so remembrance is cease from among men, including us. The men of our own people. It's ceased. It's ended. Go back to Psalms 83 again. Read verse 4 once again.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 4.
Because we oftentimes read Psalms 83. We don't really go deep into Psalms 83. 4 about them cutting us off. It was a lot deeper than you think it is, as far as not just nationality. They cut off everything you could think of. Anything that ties us to this Bible, they cut off. Any facts leading to our God, being a real God, they've cut that off also. They've kept it hidden. Go ahead.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
In our remembrance. So they scattered us into corners and cut off our remembrance from among our minds. All right? Read verse 5.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
All these nations who are against us and against our God have consulted together. Go ahead.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against you, the Most High, our God, the God of Israel. Go ahead.
The tabernacles of Edom.
So, the ringleader, of course, okay, is Edom. Okay, for those of you who are new, is a so-called white man according to the Bible, the red nation. They're not white, they are pale, different shades of red. Pink to dark red. All right, Edom. Go ahead.
And the Ishmaelites.
Israelites are the Arabs today. Okay, those Arabians, whatever. Afghanistan, that's Ishmael. Go ahead.
Of Moab.
Moab is the so-called Chinese today. Go ahead.
And the Hagarenes.
Hagarenes is Egypt. All right, go ahead.
Gebal.
Hold on a second. Go ahead. Gebal is Africans.
And Ammon.
Japanese.
And Amalek.
That's the so-called today, so-called Jews today.
The Philistines.
Right. Philistines are more Africans.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
More Africans again.
Asher also is joined with them.
Asher is Assyria. Is joined with them. The Assyrians. We're going to deal with that first. That's Kurdistanians today. The Kurds today. Kurds. That's what Saddam Hussein was killing over there. He was killing Kurd or Kurdistanians. We're going to deal with that soon. Go ahead.
They have helped the children of Lot.
So they're all together. They've helped the children of Lot. All right? Now, we read the United Nations right here. But we don't really go into detail. So I'm going to show them to you. And I'm going to show you all the members in Psalms 83 are the United Nations. Every single one of them. It said Edom first. Go down. So, as you know, what Esau has done was, over time, the nations, what they did was they began to divide amongst themselves based on their cultures or whatever nonsense. But they're all one and the same. It's 18 nations on the earth. So all this is all semantics here. These nations are all one and the same, depending on who I'm pointing to. Go back there again. There's 18 nations in total. Not 50, 100, 25. That's confusion. 197? Yeah, but nonsense. Okay, member state. You have Afghanistan. That's Ishmael there. You have Albania. That's Edom there. Algeria is Africans there. Now, I'm not going to go through all. I'm just going to go to the key ones. Go up again. Afghanistan is the A section. Go down. Now, if you notice, you see our people too. You see Antigua. You see Argentina. I'm going to deal with that also. Argentina. All right. Go down. You have Bahamas. Now, you have Belize. That's all our people there. You have Afghanistan's Ishmael. You have Albania's Edom. Go down. Bosnia's Edom again. I'm going to get into the points. Go down. Cambodia. Bulgaria's Edom also. Go down. Central Africa, that's the Hamites right there. All right. Chad. Go down. China right there is Moab right there. Moab, I mentioned them also. Go down. You have Jex, Edom again. Go down. Croatia. Go down.
Cyprus.
Yep. Go down. You have, who is it? Republic of Korea. That's Moab also. Don't be fooled. Korea and Moab, China is the same damn people. Korea is Moab also. Congo is Hamites right there. Denmark is Edom. Djibouti is Cush. You have Djibouti. You have Somalia. You have Eritrea, Ethiopia. That's all Cush right there. Hamites. All right, go down. You have, what is that? Egypt. That's Hagarenes right there. You know, Arab Ishmael's in there today. But, well, the Turks over there today, but that's the same thing. Eritrea, that's Cush again. All right. Go down. Fiji, that's Japheth. Zambia, Georgia, that's all Edom. Ghana. Yeah, our people are in all these places, but for the most part, it's damn Hamites too. Go down. Go down. You have, go down. Hungary, Edom again. What else? Give me a second. Iceland's Edom again. Israel, that's Amalek right there. Amalek. Indonesia's Japheth also. Jordan, that's Ishmael right there. So now go to Psalms 83 again. Psalms 83 verse 8. It said Asher is joined with them. Let me get it one more time. Oh, matter of fact, go back to that again, the site again. To nations again. You notice they became members in the 1900s. So you see how people in there, they're already destroyed. Their minds are already destroyed. 1945 became a member, 1990. So their minds are already destroyed, our people. And you find them in the midst of this nonsense. All right? This is in the Bible also. Get Psalms 83 again.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 8. Asher also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot.
Just Moab and Ammon. So he's doing Asher now. Go to Kurdistan. Kurdish people, same thing. Read that, please. Somebody read that.
Kurdish people. The Kurdish people, or Kurds, are an ethnic group in Western Asia, mostly inhabiting a region known as Kurdistan, which includes adjacent parts of Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Turkey.
That's what that is. So they're in the middle of those four. And all those nations are the United Nations. All of them. Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. Now go to the old map. Essentially, the old map. They're in between these. They're all subdivisions in those nations. Now see right there, the old ancient map, archaeology, and ancient Assyria. There's an introduction, overview. Ancient Assyria, Assyrian archaeology. Later Assyria kings. That's that right there. See Syria right there? Syria, Babylon, which is Iraq today. Elam, which is Iran today. Media is above. Point to Malachi. Point to it, please. Captain Malachi, point to it. Point to Elam. On your right.
Elam is over there by Persia.
Yeah. That's Iran today. Go to Babylonia.
Babylonia is right.
That's Iraq. Go up to Syria. To the left. No, Syria, not Syria.
Syria, but Damascus is over
That's the same thing today. And then Egypt's on the far left. So now, go to a more modern map. Go to the next one. Now, blow it up. See, it says Turkey, Iran, Syria, and Iraq. The Kurdish are still there today. It's called Nineveh Plains, which is the capital of Assyria. So it's the same place, same exact place, same exact people in the same area again. So in the United Nations, the Kurdish represent all four of those people. That's why Ashur is joined with them. They were joined with Ishmael and Iraq. They joined with the Syrians. They joined with the Turks, which is Ishmael and Edom mixed together, and the Persians or Iranians today, on the far right. Go to the next one. That's them right there. That's Kurdistan today. See that? Blow up one more. A little bit more. See Iraq, Turkey, Syria, and Iran? That's all the Kurdistan right there. Kurdish, what is it? Kurdish something.
Inhabited area.
See, Kurdish inhabited area right there. That's the Assyrians today. They're still there today, and it's 5% in Syria. They call them they call them Syrians, something like that. I forgot they call them. But they're in Iraq, they're in Iran, they're in Syria, and they're in Turkey. All those nations are part of the United Nations. They're involved in it. Matt, go back to the United Nations again. Keep in mind, Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. Keep those in mind. Genesis chapter 10, verse 10 to 11.
The book of Genesis, chapter 10 and verse 10.
This is the beginning of the capital of Nineveh. This is when Nineveh was established. This is during, go ahead.
At the beginning of his kingdom.
I'm sorry, start from verse 8.
Verse 8.
Yeah.
And Cush begat Nimrod.
Nimrod was the first king of that area. All right, the first king of modern Babylon today, which is Iraq, Iran, that region you saw earlier. Go ahead.
He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
He became the first king. He united all nations together under him, and they worshipped him as God. Go ahead.
He was a mighty hunter before the Lord.
And he hunted for men to serve and worship him. Go ahead.
Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod the mighty hunter before the Lord.
Go ahead.
And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad.
That's where the term Akkadians come from. Akkad. That's Iraq. It's the same area. Go ahead.
And Calneh, in the land of Shinar.
Shinar, the white man calls today Sumeria or Sumer. Shinar and Sumer is the same exact place. Go back to that map again. Right, this is Babylonia. Nimrod ruled all of that whole middle area there. You have Babylonia, Elam, all that. He ruled that whole region there, and up above that. Assyria, he ruled all of that. All right, he was the king of all of that region. Read again.
And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel.
Babel. So the beginning of his kingdom was called Babel or Babylonia. Go ahead.
And Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar.
Shinar is those region. Shinar is that region right there. That whole thing. Iraq, Elam, Babylonia. That's Shinar or Sumer today. It's the same thing. Esau won't be fancy with the words. Sumer is Shinar. Go ahead.
Out of that land.
Out of that land now. Go ahead.
Went forth Ashur.
Went forth Ashur. That's Ashur. That's the Assyrians. They left. They decided. What happened was they were united as the Akkadian Empire. You had Cush and what is that? Ashur. Right there, Ashur. See, Ashur right there. They were united as one. Ashur said, "The hell with you. We're gonna do our own thing." They split and they moved and decided to do their own capital. All right. So Cush kept Babylon, and Ashur decided to build their own capital. Read.
And builded Nineveh.
And they built their capital called Nineveh. All right. Go ahead.
And the city Rehoboth and Calah.
So the Assyrians built their capital called Nineveh. Go back to the map again. Move up. Yeah, blow it up. See that? Nineveh Plains. That's their capital. That's where it was. Now it's ruins now. The Most High destroyed it. He had Babylon go over there and overthrow them. Now it's nothing but rubble and sand and garbage. Like America's gonna be soon. Go to what's something to say, Austin? Go to Genesis 10 again. I'm sorry. Go to First Maccabees 3:41. They get there you go. Hold First Maccabees 3:41. You see Iraq right there. Iraq. You have Iran, Islamic Republic of Iran. All right. They're part of the United Nations. You have Iraq on the bottom. Go down to S. Go down. Right. Syrian Arab Republic. They're there. What do you know? Syria's there. Go to T. Turkey's there. United Nations. All of them the same. So the Assyrians are joined to all four of the people who are part of the United Nations, who are united against us. Now you may ask yourself, well, why are Israelites in this list? You don't get that soon enough. Get First Maccabees 3:41.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 41.
Because them Syrians over there got, what they got, that nerve gas over there? People crying over them. The hell with them. First Maccabees 3 and 41.
And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them,
This is when the Greeks overthrew us and started to sell us. Read.
took silver and gold very much, with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves.
Go ahead.
A power also of Syria.
Of who?
Of Syria.
Of Syria.
And of the land of the Philistines.
These are probably 9 nations. Philistines. Go ahead. I mean, in Psalms 83. Go ahead.
Joined themselves unto them.
Now they all united together to buy us as slaves. Now they all united to keep us as slaves in that list over there. It's the same thing all throughout history, over and over and over again. So the Syrians were involved in that. The Kurdistanians are united with Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Turkey, who are part of the United Nations. They're all involved. Psalms 83 is giving you the United Nations. They're all grouped together as one. Just because we won't find them there, you're not going to find Iraq, Iran in Psalms 83. But it's the same thing as Ashur, because they're all united with those people.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 16. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them.
So there's no end of Ashur or the Assyrians. They're still there. They're just called Kurdistanians, blended in amongst the Iranians, amongst the Iraqis, amongst the Turkish, amongst the Syrians. They're all there. They're still alive, blended in. Go ahead.
They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of
Read the
spirit.
top again.
There is no end of all the people,
Meaning all the nations. Go ahead.
even of all that have been before them.
That meaning that they're children. There's no end of them. There's no end of them at all. They're still around. Even the ones that are around today, they were around back then. Is what he's saying. Get Isaiah 28 now. So why are Israelites part of the United Nations? You notice all of them became members in the 1900s, 1940s, because their minds are destroyed. And they simple as hell. A lot of them know better. But that greed. Isaiah 28 and 14.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 14. Wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men, that rule this people which is in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death,
That's captivity. That's slavery. Our oppressors. Go ahead.
and with hell are we at agreement.
But you're still kept. Give me Isaiah 5, 13. People think, oh, he made a covenant with the devil. Well, not us speaking yet, because the so-called white man's the devil. Because I'm talking about that spiritual entity, Satan, you're going to make a covenant with him. No. It's talking about our oppressor.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 13.
Yeah.
Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge. And their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore hell hath enlarged herself, and opened her mouth without measure.
No, matter of fact, read verse 14 from the top.
Therefore hell hath enlarged herself.
13 from the top.
Oh, 13. Therefore my people are gone into captivity.
Stop. 14 from the top.
Therefore hell hath enlarged herself.
What is hell? Thank you. See how simple that is? Read again.
Therefore my people are gone into captivity. Therefore hell hath enlarged herself, and opened her mouth without measure. And their glory, and their multitude, and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it.
Send into what? Read 13 from the top again.
Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they...
Yeah.
We don't...
13 the whole thing. Yeah.
Right. Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge.
Go ahead.
And their honorable men are famished.
Honorable men is our leaders. They have no understanding, no wisdom at all. So what they do, make covenants with death and hell. Because they're famished. They're simple. Go ahead.
And their multitude dried up with thirst.
No understanding. That thirst is the waters of the Most High, the waters of wisdom. They're thirsty. No wisdom. Read on.
Therefore hell hath enlarged herself.
Therefore, because they're famished, because they have no knowledge, and they're dried up. Read again, 14.
Therefore hell hath enlarged herself, and opened her mouth without measure. And their glory, and their multitude, and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it.
So when the mouth opens, what's being done to the person? You're being what? You're being swallowed. We're going to deal with that. Go to Wikipedia, United Nations. Members. Nope, not that one. United Nations. There we go. Go up. So we can go up. There we go. Member states of the United Nations. Member states of the United Nations. Go down. See, it says there are 193 United Nations, which is nonsense. It's 18, including our people. Simple as hell. There are 193 United Nations member states, and each of them is a member of the United Nations General Assembly. The criteria for admission of the new members are set out in the United Nations Charter, Chapter 2. So they have to follow a charter or a covenant agreement in order to be part of the United Nations. They got to follow the criteria of what each. So you don't know damn well we didn't write the charter. Read read it, please. Number 1.
Number 1. You hear me? Membership in the United Nations is open to all other peace-loving states which accept the obligations contained in the present charter.
Stop. Read it again.
Membership in the United Nations is open to all other peace-loving...
Peace-loving means loving white people. That's what that means. Loving and agreeing with us. Go ahead.
Peace-loving states which accept the obligations...
Stop. That's the covenant. That's the agreement of death and hell. That's what it's talking about. Go ahead.
Contained in the present charter.
In our rules and regulations that we made up. That Esau made up. Go ahead. Because Edom is the ringleader in Psalms 83. He wrote this damn charter. Go ahead.
And in the judgment of the organization.
See that? Which Edom runs. Go ahead.
Are able and willing to carry out these obligations.
That's the covenant. You gotta follow our criteria. Go ahead.
A United Nations Charter. The Charter of the United Nations is the foundation treaty.
Stop. That's an agreement. That's a covenant. A treaty. Go ahead.
Of the international organization called the United Nations.
Go ahead.
It was signed at the San Francisco War Memorial and Performing Arts Center in San Francisco, United States, on the 26th of June, 1945.
Go down.
1945. By 50 of the 51 original member countries. Poland, the other original member, which was not represented at the conference, signed it 2 months later.
Jump down to, it says, it entered into force. Right there.
Okay. It entered into force on October 24th, 1945, after being ratified by the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. The Republic of China,
Moab,
under Chapter 2 of the United Nations Charter, and currently by the People's Republic of China,
Moab, go ahead.
France,
That's Edom.
the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics,
USSR.
USSR, Edom again. Go ahead.
later replaced by the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, and the United States.
Now jump down as a charter.
As a charter, it is a
Constituent.
treaty, and all members are bound by its article.
All members are what?
Bound by its article.
All made a covenant with Edom. That's all it is. A covenant following Edom's protocol to keep the nations in order. That's all it means. Go to 1 Maccabees 1:11. They all did the same thing over and over again. History repeats itself over and over again. Wow, it's a fairy tale.
Outside, Officer Isaac is going to take over.
Okay.
Okay.
First Maccabee.
1 verse 11.
Which microphone you have? Okay. Go ahead.
First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Now you understand why you have our people on the list of the United Nations. That's why they're on there. Because their minds are broken and they're simple and destroyed. You have Haiti there, you have Benjamin, Levi there, Benjamin there, Ephraim, all of them on there. Read it again, this is why.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Go to H, please, on that list, on that hill, please. H. Now, who's on the top? What did America do for them? The nations did nothing for them during that earthquake over there. Nothing. And they're part of that council. Show, what year did they join? 1945, their minds were destroyed. Their minds were destroyed. America went over there and robbed them, if anything. robbed them of all their resources and took the kids and adopted them and stole the kids out of there. They're still in poverty over there. They're still destroyed over there, and they're still part of the United Nations.
How many of y'all saw that documentary called Haiti, Where Did the Money Go?
Right.
They show you, man, that thing is horrendous, man. Y'all see that thing?
And America's behind that. America was behind robbing the people, and the United Nations building is in the same place that robbed their people. Read it again.
Verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen,
The United Nations. Go ahead.
that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Because if we join them, we might get some benefits. And they benefited nothing from joining them at all. Go ahead.
So this device pleased them
Well,
well.
our people are proud. We're on the United Nations list. They're proud and confident. Go ahead.
Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
That's the treaty. Go ahead.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the
You
heathen.
start following the protocols of the heathen, the criteria or the charters of the Greeks. Go ahead.
And made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant,
Made themselves heathens. We're part of the United Nations. We're heathens too. Go ahead.
and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
Sold to do mischief. Go to 41 to 43.
Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom, that all should be one people.
That's the United Nations again. That's democracy, which the building is founded in the country of. Go ahead.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
All the who agreed?
All the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
That's what they were called League of Nations before. They were all in league with Edom. League of Nations prior to being called United Nations. The league don't sound right. League sound like a damn villainy, like a super villain council. So they go United Nations instead, not league. That don't sound good. That's that Psalms 83. They're all confederate against it.
There you go.
That's that league against God. That's what it's going into. Go to 41 and 42.
First Maccabees 1 verse 41.
Find it. Find it. Let me know. I'll be
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom, that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
They all followed in league with the Edom. All of them. Go ahead.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion,
And Israel went and joined the League of Nations also. That's how you find our people in the list. Go ahead.
and sacrificed unto
There it
idols.
is. There it is.
There it goes. Read it.
The league lasted for 27 years. The United Nations replaced it after
There
the
you
end
go.
of the World War. Hold it still. The end of the world. No, leave it the way it was. I can't read it like that. The league lasted for 27 years. The United Nations replaced it after the end of World War II, and inherited a number of agencies and organizations founded by
It's
the
the
league.
same thing. It's the same exact thing. It replaced it, meaning they just added more members. And we can change the name. League, ooh, don't change that. United sounds more safe. But go ahead.
That's what this nation does if you pay attention. When people catch on to what they're doing, they rebrand themselves.
Right.
They change their name, and
Right.
you think it's something new and different, and they spin you around in circles.
Right. It's the same exact thing. Go to Lamentations 2:16. American Birth Control League.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was it.
called
That
before Planned Parenthood. American Birth Control League. Look at the word there, League. League of Nations, nah, change that. Put it United. American Birth Control League, nah, call it Planned Parenthood. They always change things. They know how it sounds. These are those words.
You know the reason why they had to get rid of that terminology? American birth control. Just to stop right there. American birth control, because you know what that says? America controls how many children you have.
Right.
That's what that. So they said we can't
League.
mess with that. You ain't got to deal with the league part. Just look at the first three
Right.
three words. American controls your birth rate. So they said, wait a minute, that's genocide. So they said, no, we gotta sweeten it up. We gotta make it sound nice. We gotta make it sound.
So why change it?
Here's the
Exactly.
backup. Deacon Yahoo something he just said. In 1938, the clinic was organized into the American Birth Control League, which became part of the only national birth control organization in the U.S. until the 1960s. But the title was found too offensive
See?
and against families. So the league began discussions for a new name.
The league began discussions of a new name, like United Nations. That's what happened. It's the same, because Esau understands words. He knows, okay, let's change that. League doesn't sound right. Let's just make United. That sounds better. Because league sounds like Confederate against thee. That's what it sounds like.
Lamentations chapter 2 verse 16. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up.
Uh-oh, wait a minute. Where was that read before? Where was that read before? Jonah. What? Don't call out.
Isaiah 5:14.
Isaiah 5:14. It said the mouth opened without measure. It swallowed us up. We descended into it. Because all the nation went into it. That's why it says the mouth opened wide and wide. Because first, Ephraim went into captivity. Then the mouth got bigger and Judah fell in there right along with him. So he got swallowed up by who? Read again.
All thine enemies.
It says, no, some of them.
All thine enemies.
It says all of them. Hold that. Give me Nehemiah 5:9, please. Some think, oh, the good ones. The bad ones did it. No. All of them. Nehemiah 5:9. Nehemiah knew something that people don't know today. A lot of Israelite camps, they don't read the scripture here. And Christians don't read the scripture here. Well, the same thing.
Nehemiah chapter 5 verse 9. Also I said, it is not good that ye do, or ye not to walk in the fear of our God, because of the reproach of the heathen, our enemies.
The reproach of who?
The heathen, our enemies.
Nehemiah said the heathen, our enemies. What does heathen mean? Ezekiel. It means nations. Nations usually means nations. Alright? Nations outside of our own. Alright, read again, the bottom part. Thanks.
Also I said, it is not good that ye do, or ye not to walk in the fear of our God, because of the reproach of the heathen, our enemies.
So the heathens are our enemies. Now go to Lamentations again. Lamentations 2:16 again.
Lamentations 2:16. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee.
So all the heathen have opened their mouths against us. Well, how are they able to do that? Because they were all Confederate in Psalms 83. Go ahead.
They hiss and gnash the teeth.
Shh, niggas. Spits. Hiss and gnash the teeth. Go ahead.
They say, we have swallowed her up.
We enslaved them. We got them. We took their lands. We took them. We took their identity from them. We swallowed her up. Go ahead.
Certainly, this is the day that we looked for.
This is the day we what?
That we looked for.
The day that we the day we looked for. We're gonna find out where.
They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we looked for.
This is the day we looked for. We're gonna find out where we looked for that. Go ahead.
We have found. We have seen
We
it.
found it. It was gonna happen, and we've seen it. Go ahead.
The Lord hath done that which he had devised. He hath fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He hath thrown down, and hath not pitied. And he hath caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He hath set up the horn of thine adversary.
That goes to pride is lifted up. Lift up the head. That's Psalms 83 again. They've gained authority over the earth, authority over us. Get Babylon Timbuktu. I don't gotta read it from you. You guys need to read it from me? I want you to read page 47, the highlighted part. This is when Israel, long after Israel fled from Jerusalem in 70 AD, we fled into Africa. And in the midst of us dwelling there, the Bible was published and distributed in different languages.
Okay, we're reading out of the book of From Babylon to Timbuktu on page 47.
Well, it was translated, really. Translated, go ahead.
Page 47 under the...
This is the history of Islam. This is
Right.
the time when Muslims started to rise up and they wanted to learn the history of their father Ishmael, the Arabs.
It says, incidentally, by the time the Hebrew Old Testament had been translated into Arabic, and the Arabs were rapturously pleased to read about their great ancestors in the history of the Hebrew patriarchs.
Abraham and Ishmael, that was their ancestors.
Of the Hebrew patriarchs. This fact alone helped Muhammad to inspire in the Arabs the feeling of nationalism and racial pride.
See that? So they had our Bible, when they used our Bible to get them, instill in themselves pride and honor in their race. All right, and he used that to say, okay, follow my religion now that I stole from the Jews. That's still on that?
No.
Yeah.
Because they had read in the Hebrew scripture
Let's see.
that Ishmael was to become a quote-unquote great nation.
See that? So they read the Bible. Ishmael read the Bible, right? Read this, Black Holocaust. This is first one we read was tell me what the book is called.
The name of the book is called is entitled "From Babylon to Timbuktu." It's written by this black man. He was a scholar named Rudolph R. Windsor. That was page 47. Page 47.
This is page 34 of the Black Holocaust, written by S.E. Anderson. All right. Now, remember earlier, it says in Lamentations 2:16, this is the day we look for. This is the day we look for. We have found, we have seen it. And they read it. They said they're gonna go into slavery eventually. That God gonna forsake them. That's gonna be our chance to enslave them. Read that right there, the highlighted part.
Right now we're reading out of the. This is what is known as cross-referencing books. So y'all got to get into that cross-referencing history books. You know how to go from one book to the other book, bringing out the same subject and stringing it all along where the people can understand what you're bringing out. Okay. So now we're going to read, continuing on with the subject. We're reading from the book entitled "The Black Holocaust." Okay, it's written by S.E. Anderson.
He goes into the Arab-African slave trade. He goes into the Arab slave trade. He goes into the Chinese slave trade. Because China has slaves also. Moab. Go ahead.
Okay, this is on page 34. It says, "Let us be clear. It was the Arabs who set the foundation for exploring Africans.
They were the forerunners of the slave trade, the trans-Saharan slave trade. That lasted for 1,200 years. Go ahead.
For taking the people of Africa to strange and horrible lands.
They took us, Israelites who were inhabitants of Africa, to strange and horrible lands. Go ahead.
It was true that many Arabs saw Africans as inferior human beings.
They saw what?
It was true that many Arabs saw Africans,
Israelites,
as inferior human beings destined for bondage.
What did they say?
Destined for bondage.
They said that the Israelites.
Read the whole thing again. It says, it was true that many Arabs saw the Israelites, got Africans here, as inferior human beings destined for bondage.
Destined for bondage. Destined for bondage.
I don't think they caught on. I don't think they caught on to that. You gotta read it again. I'm gonna see if this. Where's Captain Joshua at? I'm gonna see if the hot butter of these words melt on that biscuit called a brain. I want to see if y'all see if y'all pick that up. This man said that it was true that many of the Arabs saw the Israelites, us, as inferior human beings, and our destiny was bondage. That's what he's saying. That we're supposed to be enslaved. That's what he's saying.
Because they read it.
And that's exactly how these bastards feel.
Read it in Arabic in the Bible. They read it. They said they're gonna go to slavery soon. When they come running over here, they got forsook them. Their land is destroyed by the Romans. It's our chance. We have found it. We have seen it. Let's unite and keep them stupid. That's what happened.
So what is that telling you that the Arabs know? If they read that we were supposed to go into bondage, what do they know who they put in captivity? They know it was the Israelites. That's what they know, that we fled down in 70 AD. We fled down into the interiors of Africa, and the Arabs and the Africans, the real Africans, rounded us up and put us on the cargo slave ships and brought us to America to make us slaves.
Read page 44. Page 44.
Thousands of West Central Africans were captured during wars between rival African kingdoms and traded with the European slavers for trinkets, beads, cloth, liquor, guns, foodstuffs.
See that? So they sold us. The Hamites saw it, because a lot of the Hamites converted to Islam also, and they joined with the Arabs and they enslaved us together, because they saw it, and that we were destined for bondage. When they overthrew us, they said, "Okay, we beat them." They got ain't with them no more. Get
You need Joel now.
Yeah, get Joel 3.
You gotta have Joel now, because Joel a lot 3. Of people get mixed up on that thing.
Yeah, Joel 3. Joel 3 and 3.
Are y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
Because Africans, so when it said African, said thousands of West and Central Africans were captured. Who were the people that was on the west coast of Africa? There's another book that I wish there was a book a long time ago, many years ago, It was put out by Time Life Books. Tropical Africa, that's the name of the book. And they go into detail on how these people that was on the west coast of Africa were the most civilized people on the whole damn continent.
That's in here.
That's in there too?
Yeah, it's in here.
But it's in that other book, Tropical Africa. They tell you about the greatness that these people were. So they were not these so-called Oonga Boonga African people that they talk about. Not at all. It's in that book too?
Yeah.
You know, I have that book. I'm trying to remember if I read it.
I have it on a frame of my wall.
Well, if you got
They
it,
might drink.
They would oftentimes get drunk and rape our sisters. Sometimes rape them to insanity. They run chains them all night long and break their spirit. That's in this book also, Black Holocaust. It'll piss you off reading this. Read on.
Yea, what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
The same people unite in the Psalms 83. The inhabitants of Tyre. Sidon is the same people. Go ahead.
And all the coast of Palestine.
You have Africans and you have Arabs. Coast of Palestine is Ishmael. Today, Palestinians today. Go ahead.
Will you render me a recompense?
Because God did not choose them as his chosen people. He chose us. So as a payback, they go, you know what? We're going to get back at God, who's their enemy, instead we're going to sell people into slavery. That's why David said, thine enemies make a tumult. Because they thought by getting at us, by our God, we're going to get at his people. That's what they were doing. That was their recompense against our God for not choosing them. For not choosing their daddy Ishmael or their daddy Ham. So as anger, vengeance, let's destroy his people. Go ahead.
And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
You've done to my people, I'm going to have my people do to you. Go ahead.
Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and I carried into your temples my goodly pleasant
You
things.
carried into your temples my things. They robbed our temples, stole our menorahs, stole our records. All that stuff is hidden and taken in Vatican, under Smithsonian. They have all of our records hidden amongst themselves. All of our wealth is stolen. Our land is stolen. Our identity is stolen. They stole everything you could think of concerning our people. Even the history, historical references tying us to the Bible. God's miracles a mystery. Noah's Ark a mystery. We're not sure if it's the big boat. That big boat on Mount Ararat, we're not really sure if that's really there. It's sitting there. Oh, the flood, we're not really sure if the flood happened. They had found the chariot wheels under the sea. They have on the walls, he mentions Israel. I'm going to get to that also. Anything that ties us to the history about God existing, let's cut that off. Remove that, and let's create evolution. Everything was made from an explosion. We don't know when. We just know that it exploded, and it happened around we don't know, around the year we don't know, and y'all gonna believe it. Yes, sir. And Negros follow it. Go ahead.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians.
So the Hamites and the Arabs sold us to who?
The Grecians.
Sold us to the Greeks. Sold us to the Grecians. White folks. Portuguese. Dutch. French. English. Go ahead. Danish. Go ahead.
That ye might remove them far from their border.
Move us far from our border and do what? Jump to verse 2 again, the bottom.
For my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
That's why. They moved us far from our border and then they took our land and parted it for themselves. That's what they did. United Nations, the League of Nations was behind putting the people in there. 1948, the League of Nations gained public sympathy and put those bastards in our land. They became a state in 1948. Then they put Hamites in there in 1984 under Operation Moses. The Zionist government did that. Amalek as usual. Edom as usual. Now in this book it mentioned earlier that they sold thousands of West and Central Africans were captured during wars between rival African kingdoms. Because we established our kingdom in Africa and they overthrew it. Alright? And enslaved us and sold us out of our kingdoms and then called themselves by us, took our names in the land today. There's very few of us left over there. We're over there, but very few of us. We're a minority over there. Very small. Remnant. Majority of us are brought over here.
So now, to the point that I was making earlier about the people in West Africa being a different group than the African kings and all of that rounded us up and sold us. Remember the Africans and the Arabs rounded us up and sold us over here on the slave ships to the white man. Well, in the western or the Ivory Coast, the western parts of Africa, it's going to tell you in this book about these people. to let you know that they were not quote unquote Africans. We're going to read about them. This is in the same book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, on page 90. It makes mention of the black Jews. Wait a minute.
Wait, yeah, because he says black Jews. You got to explain why he said black Jews.
The black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes. Wait a minute. The black Jews had an advantage. The black Jews. Wait a minute. The black Jews. The black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes. They carried their culture, history, laws, and written records with them.
We have found it. We have seen it. When they took us as slaves, they took our records and said, okay, they're going to be slaves. All right. Go ahead.
This assured them a constant precedent for the development of a higher social organization. Because of the stability of the black Jewish culture, the Jews were not absorbed into the autochthonous population.
The originals.
Right.
The original Hamites, the original inhabitants. We weren't absorbed into their customs. They were trying to follow ours.
Right. We kept separate from them.
Right.
In fact, the Jews absorbed some of the native tribes.
They want to follow us.
Right. The Jews made use of every opportunity. They were industrious and skillful people. In the Jewish Ghanaian states were found kings, princes, governors. This is talking about Israelites.
You know it says were found because he got sold out of there. Were found.
Were found kings, princes, governors, generals, secretaries, treasurers, revenue agents, judges, architects, engineers, doctors, historians, language interpreters, mathematicians, Solomon, mathematicians, jewelers, sculptors, masons, carpenters, painters of art, goldsmiths, leather workers, potters, armorers, saddlers, blacksmiths, agriculturists, etc., etc. Meaning the list goes on and on.
We were geniuses over there. And they knew. Those ain't Africans over there. Them Africans over there are stupid. Take them over there. And they brought us over here with those same skills and built America. We already had the high qualifications over here, the high resume. Use that nigga over there and make him build that over there. Use him, make him teach us how to build that over there. We weren't no dumb niggas over here. We were smarter than the white folks over here. And a lot of them, they separated the smart ones from the dumb ones. And used the smart ones to breed with the other smart ones. And killed the dumb ones. There were wars. Oh, yeah.
Wait. Let me finish this piece. It says, as historical evidence indicates.
As historical evidence indicates, go ahead.
The black Hebrews were snatched from the west coast of Africa and sold into captivity.
There you go. They weren't selling Africans. They were selling Jews. Black Hebrews. And why do you keep saying black? Because the Negro will go, oh, they were selling white people. Right. So you got redundance there. Black Jews, black Hebrews there. Because y'all don't know any better. Because the members has been cut off. That's a little.
Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? There was a video that came out of the old school where they gave a class in the college, and in the signs they had a picture of a map that they got from a book, and in the map, the western part of Africa was called Fort Judah.
Yeah, Fort
You
Judah.
know
Where
what that
Judah?
is?
That was in the
I
book.
never found the book, but I saw the map. It was referred to as Fort Judah on the west coast of Africa.
The name of the book is I'm gonna give you the name of the book. The pictorial history of the slave trade, I think it is, something like that.
But after the Hamites conquered us out of Africa, the French came and conquered them and built the fort.
That's it there.
It should show it. You should have a picture of it somewhere. This is right there, Judah in French.
Well, that's the book.
That's the book right there. Now let's go to shall I read that, please?
Okay.
I want you to read according to John K. and stop at selling them. No, stop at just keep going. I just want to stop. Alcohol. Stop at alcohol.
According to John K. Thornton, Europeans usually bought enslaved people who were captured in endemic warfare between African states.
We read that in this book right here. Cross-referencing. Go ahead.
There were also Africans who had made a business out of capturing Africans from neighboring ethnic groups or war captives and selling them.
Wait a minute. Read it again.
There were also Africans.
This is Tyree and Zidon. Go ahead.
Who made a business out of capturing Africans
Israelites,
from neighboring ethnic groups,
neighboring races, race groups. Go ahead.
or war captives and selling them.
Go ahead.
People living around the Niger River
West Africa.
were transported from these markets to the coast and sold at European trading posts
Greeks.
in exchange for muskets, matchlock between 1540 and 1606, but flint guard from there,
Keep going.
and manufactured goods such as cloth or alcohol.
Sold for wine. Put that in Joel 3 and see exact same thing. Don't go down.
African participation in the slave trade.
Yep.
Africans themselves played a role in the slave trade by selling their captive or prisoners of war to European buyers.
Greeks.
The prisoners and captives who were sold were usually from neighboring or enemy ethnic groups.
Enemy what?
Ethnic groups.
Enemy race groups. Not the same people. Enemy ethnic groups. Go ahead.
These captive slaves were not considered part of the ethnic group or tribe.
They were not what?
These captive slaves were not considered part of the ethnic group or tribe.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What are they saying? They were not the same people.
Africans themselves played a role in the slave trade by selling their captive or prisoners of war to European buyers. The prisoners and captives who were sold were usually from neighboring or enemy ethnic groups. These captive slaves were not considered part of the ethnic group or tribe. African kings held no particular loyalty to them.
Why? Because they were not the same. There was no loyalty. They were a different group altogether, different race. They usually gotta be slick.
The kings of Dahomey sold their war captives into transatlantic slavery.
Those are Hamites that lived in the western region, and they conquered us and sold us out of that region. Those regions. Go ahead.
Right, that the homie were the Africans and the war captives was us. I
Right.
don't understand.
Right. Go ahead.
Who otherwise would have been killed in a ceremony known as the annual customs.
Where they ate us. They would eat us. That's what they're talking about. Annual customs. If you didn't eat us, they sold us in slavery. That was your choice.
Right.
I eat you or I sell you.
Right. They were cutting us up to their idol gods and all that. That's
Right.
what they were doing, all that stuff to us.
All them Afrocentric brothers out there. Go ahead.
As one of the West Africa's principal slave states, Dahomey became extremely unpopular with neighboring people.
Us. With us. Go ahead.
Like the Bambara Empire to the east, the Kaso kingdoms depended heavily on the slave trade for their economy. A family status was indicated by the number of slaves it owned.
Like the white people. So the same thing that happened over here in America, Africans had it over there. You were high class based on these slaves you owned. Go ahead.
A family status was indicated by the number of slaves it owned, leading to wars for the sole purpose of taking more captives.
Go ahead.
This trade led to the Kaso into increasing contact with the European settlements of Africa's west coast,
Go ahead.
particularly the French.
The French, that's why I got that place called Roi de Judah, Fort of Judah. So they built the slave fort there, and they were selling Judah out of there, Southern Kingdom out of there. Go ahead, remnants of Ephraim. Go ahead.
Benin grew increasingly rich during the 16th and 17th
Because
centuries.
Benin is known as the Fort of Judah. That's where it was located. Read that. I read here. King Gizo. Go down. King Gizo of Dahomey says this. Watch what he says.
King Gizo of Dahomey said in the 1840s, "The slave trade is the ruling principle of my people. It is the source and the glory of their wealth. The mother lulls the child to sleep with notes of triumph over an enemy reduced to slavery."
They will lullaby their children to sleep about selling us as slaves. This is your Africans. Jump down to 1807.
Don't be surprised, white folks do that too.
Yeah.
Right now. Exploiting the hell out of us.
Yep. 1807. Go ahead, read that.
In 1807, the United Kingdom Parliament passed a bill that abolished the trading of slaves. The king of Bani, now in Nigeria, was horrified at the conclusion of the practice.
Go ahead, let's see what he says.
"We think this trade must go on. This is the verdict of our oracle and the priest.
This is a verdict of our oracle and our priests. Watch.
They say that your country, however great, can never stop a trade ordained by God himself."
What did they say?
They said that your country, however great, can never stop a trade ordained by God himself.
That's what the Arabs said. Destined for bondage. They said the same damn thing. Because they read it. Because they read it. Go to 1 Maccabees 2 and 47.
First Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 47. They pursued also after the proud men. The work prospered in their hand. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles, and out of the hand of kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph.
See that? So the heathen had a habit oftentimes of taking our Bibles from us, either destroying them or keeping them for themselves to study us, to learn their enemy. That the Africans did, that the Arabs did, the white man did, the Greeks did the same thing. Read again.
First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 48. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles, and out of the hand of kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph.
So our forefathers recovered the law, the Bible, out of the hand of these heathens. Get Acts 26, verse 2. So these heathens always had access to our records of some kind of way or another. Either when they were against us, fighting us, or when they were ruling over us. Read 21 again.
Verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein.
And those of you who live outside of Jerusalem in the other lands, don't go back in there to worship. Go ahead, it's a bad time. Go ahead.
For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
Our enslavement, that the nation saw in Lamentations 2:16. Go ahead.
But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck.
Because they surrounded us for years and starved us out, and we began to eat our children. Go ahead, out of starvation. Go ahead.
In those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
God's destruction upon his people. Go ahead. Sharon, read that, please. The Josephus part claims, and the all the way to the bottom.
Josephus claims that 1,100,000 people were killed during the siege, of which a majority were Jewish, and that 97,000 were captured and enslaved, including Simon Bar Giora and John of Giscala.
Go ahead.
The slaughter, these are the quotes here.
Mm-hmm.
The slaughter within was even more dreadful than the spectacle from without. Men and women, old and young, insurgents and priests, those who fought and those who entreated mercy were hewn down in indiscriminate carnage.
So I didn't make. So you say I didn't make that up? There's the history. Go ahead.
The number of the slain exceeded that. Let me repeat that. The number of the slain exceeded that of the slayers. The legionnaires had to clamor. I think that's the word. Clamor over the heaps of dead to carry on the work of extermination.
And they put Jerusalem upon heaps. That's what we just read out of the Bible. The heap, meaning heaped our bodies up.
Read the next one. Watch this.
Many fled to areas around the Mediterranean. Titus reportedly refused to accept a wreath of victory.
He refused to accept the honor of victory for the success of killing us. Go ahead, watch what he says.
Saying that the victory did not come through his own efforts, but that he had merely served as an instrument of God's wrath.
This is the time when the Greeks want to have our records in their language, because our people are living in their lands, so they want our Bible translated into their language, into Greek. Read that right there.
So we're reading about, this is Ptolemy?
It's book 12.
Okay. It says, but he said, he had been informed that there were many books of the laws among the Jews worthy of inquiring after, and worthy of the king's library.
He had a large library of books, and he wanted the Bible added to that library of books. He had thousands upon
So
thousands.
this is about Alexander.
Right.
Right.
One of the Greeks. That was
Right.
dead.
Okay. All right. But they put it in that big
That time.
Alexander. Right.
Alexandria.
Right. But which, being written in characters and in a dialect of their own, will cause no small pains in getting them translated into the Greek tongue.
Into the Greek language. What you call
Are y'all with me all right? Okay.
It's called the Septuagint. That's what it's called. That's it?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not fit for us, O king, to overlook things hastily or to deceive ourselves, but to lay the truth open.
To lay the Bible open. Go ahead.
For since we have determined not only to get the laws of the Jews transcribed, but interpreted also.
Understand it also.
For thy satisfaction. By what means can we do this? while so many of the Jews are now slaves in thy kingdom.
Now, jump up. Read this right here.
Okay. When thou, O king, gavest me charge concerning the collection of books that were waiting to fill your library, and concerning the care that ought to be taken about such as are imperfect, I have used the utmost diligence about those matters. And I will let you know that we want the books of Jewish legislation.
We want those Bibles. Go ahead.
With some others, for they are written in the Hebrew characters.
Written in their language.
And being in the language of that nation,
of us,
are to us unknown.
You don't understand Hebrew. We speak Greek. Go ahead.
It has also happened to them that they have been translated more carelessly than they should have been, because they have not because they have not had hitherto royal care taken about them.
They weren't taken care of properly. In translation, it was poor. Go ahead.
Now it is necessary that thou shouldest have accurate copies of them.
We want accurate translations of them now in Greek. Go ahead.
And indeed, this legislation is full of hidden wisdom.
This what? Read again.
And this legislation.
This Bible is what?
Is full of hidden wisdom.
Go ahead.
And entirely blameless.
Factual. Go ahead.
As being the legislation of God, for which cause it is, as Hecatatus of Abdea says, that the poets and historians make no mention of it, nor of those men who lead their lives according to it, since it is a holy law and ought not to be published by profane mouths. If then it please thee, O king, thou mayest write to the high priest of the Jews to send 6 of the elders out of every tribe, and those such as are more skillful of the laws, and by their means we may learn the clear and agreeing sense of these books.
And that's how they learned our Bible in Greek. The Greeks had access to our records, and the Romans translated that, and they ended up reading it also. And they realized, okay, they're going to go into slavery one day. And that's when Titus made that statement, I am an instrument of God's wrath, because they read it. In Deuteronomy 28, they read all of that stuff. They always had access to our records. The nations always gained access to our records. The Arabs had it in Arabic. The Greeks had it in Greek. The Romans got it in Latin. It's the same thing. They all gained access to our records. They knew they were going to be overthrown eventually. All right?
There's more.
There's more?
And may obtain an accurate interpretation of their contents. And so may have such a collection of these as may be suitable to thy desire.
Your desire. A suitable translation. So that's in a called Book 12, from the death of Alexander the Great to the death of Judas Maccabees.
So y'all can understand this is a book. The Josephus, the complete works. This is
there's bones in here, but there's some good stuff in there also.
Okay.
It's in the Bible dictionary also. That's why I went there. This is in the Bible dictionary too. Go to Judith 5 and 3. I'm gonna wrap up on this. Judith 5 and 3.
The book of Judith, chapter 5 and verse 3.
I'm gonna show you these nations understood our history and their own, and their history in our records. Judith 5 and 3.
And he said unto them, Tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is, that dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabit, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and strength, and what king is set over them, or captain of their army?
This is a warrior, a general of Nebuchadnezzar, and he was inquiring of who these people are, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, who's their king. He was asking. He was going to try to overthrow us in Jerusalem. All right. So he was inquiring of the people of the land, Canaan. Explain to me these people. Explain their weaknesses, their strengths. Explain to me. Jump to verse 5.
Verse 5.
No, in fact, verse 5.
Verse 5. Then said Achor, the captain of all the sons of Ammon.
So this is a general of the sons of Ammon. Okay, so-called Japanese today. Go ahead.
Let my Lord now hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people, which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. This people are descendant of the
He came
Chaldeans.
from the land of the Chaldeans. This is Iraq. Abraham came from out of it. He came from Ur of the Chaldees. Abraham came from Ur of the Chaldees. All right, let's look.
The elder said to remind the class that although 10 tribes left, a remnant stayed with Judah. That's how the Greeks got elders of all the tribes to help translate the scriptures.
Right, right. You heard what he said? Say it again, Bezalel, so I understand.
He said, although 10 tribes left, a remnant stayed with Judah.
Right.
That's how the Greeks got elders of all the tribes to help translate the scriptures.
Right. So not all 12 tribes, 10 tribes came over here. Some of them stayed with Judah, and they helped translate the Bible into Greek. He chose each. He chose 6 of each of all 12. All right. Now read on.
Verse 6. This people are descendant of the Chaldeans. And they sojourned.
I'm sorry, I've given you 72. So they call it the 70, which is Septuagint in Greek. All right. Go ahead.
And they sojourned heretofore in Mesopotamia.
And he's speaking about Abraham. He's giving them a record of their forefather Abraham. He said they, meaning he, Abraham, sojourned in Mesopotamia. Go ahead.
Because they would not follow the gods of their fathers,
Because Abraham's family was pagans. Go ahead.
which were in the land of Chaldea.
Go ahead.
For they left the way of their ancestors
He left the way of his family. Go ahead.
and worshipped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods. And they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days.
Go ahead.
Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned, and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt, and were increased with gold and silver, and with very much cattle.
Still doing with Abraham. And as time goes on, it gives you the history of how Abraham and eventually jumps into Israel. Now jump down to verse 17.
Verse 17.
Now, matter of fact, go to that picture again, Abiel, real quick before I forget it. The picture you have of Judah. See that right there? Where's it at? See the fort? Blow it up. The top. That's the fort in West Africa. Vouet means Fort of Judah. That's French. The French took over. When the Africans had the slaves, the French came over, conquered them, and built Fort of Judah. Fort of Judah. See? 1726 by the army of King Dahomey. The French came and overthrew them and built and called it Fort of Judah. He renamed it. All right?
Put it back on the words that he was
go back.
they was speaking of. No,
Wait,
no,
more,
no,
more.
no, the, right there. He was quoting it and you're moving it.
It was the French who founded the Fort of Judah, or Wida, which was the family destroyed in 1726 by the army of King of Dahomey. See that? They destroyed us. And they built a slave fort there where we were dwelling at called Fort of Judah. And there were other forts there. Benjamin, Fort of Ephraim, it was all over the place. But that's the most popular one. They're not going to mention other ones. Now, that's too much facts. Not going to mention Ephraim, all that. It's too much. It's just Fort of Judah's fine. Leave it at that. Fort of Judah. Go back to the sign again. Go back to the thing. They can see it. Load up more if you can. Bring it down. See that? Where did Judah? Fort of Judah. All right?
That's in that book called The Pictorial History of the Slave Trade. That's where that picture comes from.
Go verse 17.
Verse 17. And whilst they sin not before whilst they sin not before their God, they prosper.
So this Ammonite is telling the heathen king, general, while they sin not against their God. Go ahead.
Because the God that hateth iniquity was with them.
Go ahead.
But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemy.
So these heathen understood whenever Israel lost a battle, they knew that our God was not with us. They knew it. That's why I said this is the time we have seen it in Lamentations 2:16. And all of them knew this. Jump down to verse 20.
But what this is showing you is that the nations know our history, because in this chapter, this guy goes through the whole history of Israel. He goes through the whole history and telling his king about the Israelites. So that's letting you know that your enemies, that's why they know who we are. We're reading about how we got brought over here on the slave ships and all. They all know your history except you. They all know our history except us. That's what we're reading here. That's what this is going to. These are heathens talking about Israel.
Right. Read on 20, verse 20.
Verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. And let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
So he's telling them how, You can beat them. There got to be sin amongst them first in order for us to overthrow them. Otherwise, we cannot win. Go ahead.
But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world.
So now, if we go against them while they're serving their God, we'll be destroyed. We'll be a shame to all the world. Don't mess with them when they're serving their God.
Maccabees chapter 8, verse 36. Thus he that took upon him to make good to the Romans their tribute by means of the captives in Jerusalem told abroad that the Jews had God to fight for them.
This is a Greek. It says the Jews had God to fight for them. Go ahead.
And therefore they could not be hurt, because they followed the laws that he gave them.
That's what the Greeks want our records. They said their God exists. Let's study them more. Let's get their records and translate so we can understand it more. It says it's full of hidden wisdom, it says. Their Bible. That's the setting of Josephus. It's full of hidden wisdom. Things that we shouldn't know, we need to know about these people.
Book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head.
They that hate thee have lifted up their head. Thine enemies. Get Deuteronomy 32 and 26. Because when Israel kept sinning against the Most High, Moses is trying to avoid this taking place, and it happened anyway. Deuteronomy 32 and 26. And 27.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 26.
Now this is the Most High speaking and Moses speaking. The Most High is telling Moses something, and Moses is applying to the Most High statements. Read.
Verse 26. I said, I would scatter them into corners.
This is the Most High telling Moses, I said I would scatter them into corners. Go ahead.
I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
And I will cause the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Their identity, they will be called the hidden ones. Back in Psalms 83. I would hide their identities from them, cut them off from being a nation.
Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy?
This is Moses now. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, because Moses did, by keeping Israel in check, so our God would stay with us. Otherwise, they'd overthrow us. Read again.
Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely?
Lest the adversaries, the heathens, would behave themselves strangely by saying what?
And lest they should say, our hand is high, and the Lord hath not done all this.
They would say there is no God. That's what the nations did. They said, we're going to hide any record of their God ever existing. We're going to hide knowledge of the Red Sea. We're going to hide the ark. We're going to hide their burials, because their bones is around. They have them, they took them. They're going to hide. They gained, read it, 27 again. Read it again.
Verse 27. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy?
Because Moses kept saying, listen, when Israel went off, Moses would say, listen, Lord, forgive them, forgive them. He would come on our behalf and keep the enemy from attacking us. But after a while, Moses died. And Israel started going the hell off. So he couldn't stop it anymore. Read again.
Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely?
Because the enemy spared our God. They were afraid of us. But Israel went off and said, okay, that God ain't all that. Because those guys over there conquered them. We can do the same thing. They behaved themselves strangely when they saw us being defeated over and over again. Go ahead.
And lest they should say, our hand is high.
They lift up their head. Our hand is high. We can beat them. Their God don't exist. Go ahead.
And the Lord hath not done all this.
He didn't cause the Red Sea to part. He didn't cause no boat to float in water and over the earth. He didn't flood no earth. He didn't do nothing. Evolution did it. Zeus did it. Odin did it. Baal did it. They start behaving themselves strangely when Israel started going the hell off and making things up and hiding our records and hiding things that lead us to the Bible. So you can't find nothing because they act strangely. Get Psalms 2 and 1. Where's the evidence? To hell with you. You want to be African then. Eat doodle and die.
That's why it's a waste of time to go back and forth with them. Okay, you got other Israelite camps going back and forth with them. And you got to stay in the scriptures with them.
Going back and forth with doodle lovers.
The book of Psalm.
On.
And a lot of those things are hidden by Esau in the Smithsonian
Right,
Museum.
in the Vatican. They have
Right,
vaults.
and in the Vatican, because that's what they did with the pyramids and the stuff, the decalogues they found in Ohio.
Right.
That's why the Edomite Glenn Beck brought it out. He said that they were hidden, they took it and hid it in the Smithsonian.
Yep.
Not a display, in
Right.
a crate, like
Right.
in Indiana Jones, like they did in that
Raiders
movie
of
at
the Lost
the end.
Ark.
That they took the crate, and they got a whole big area with just crates and stuff.
Right. That's our records, our genealogies, all that's in there. In Psalms 2:1. Watch this.
Psalms chapter 2, verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?
So why do the heathen, our enemies, rage and imagine a vain thing? What do they imagine? There is no God. Them Israelites don't exist. We're Israelites. We're God. That's their vain thing that they imagine. Go ahead. And the people imagine a vain thing. Read again. I'm sorry.
Why do the heathen rage
Go ahead.
and the people imagine a vain
That
thing?
goes for our people too. And the people imagine a vain thing. Read on.
The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together
Psalms 83. Go ahead.
against the Lord and against his anointed,
Against us, those who have understanding. Go ahead.
saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us.
Read verse 2 again. Left some out.
Verse 2. The kings of the earth set themselves,
Go ahead.
and the rulers take counsel
You
together.
have, as your United Nations, you have heathens and our own people on there. You have heathens in Israel, leaders like Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King, all those people, all together, united to keep us asleep, to keep money in their pockets.
Puppets.
Puppets, thank you. Puppets,
Puppets
go
of
ahead.
the government.
Read on.
Against the Lord and against his anointed,
Against the Bible and against those who follow the Bible, the Israelites. Against this Christ and against us. Go ahead.
saying, let us break their bands asunder.
Let's divide them. Puerto Ricans over here, Dominicans, Haitians, African Americans, Jamaicans. Let's divide their bands. We were all banded together as 12 tribes. Now we're divided against each other now. Break their bands. Go ahead.
And cast away their cords from us.
Make the Bible false. Make Noah's Ark false. Make the Red Sea false. Make it a story, a mythological story. Make the Native Americans mystical people. Ooh, the mystical, magical people that came out of nowhere. That says, cast their cords from us. Let's change the Bible altogether. Let's revise it. Let's change it around. All right? Hold your point. I want to get through this. Read on verse 3.
Verse 3. Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us.
Get Matthew 28 now. Matthew 28, verse 1. Matthew 28 and verse 1. Watch this. I'm going to show you. This is how far the rulers went. The heathen did the same exact thing. Behaved themselves strangely. Israel did the same exact thing. Matthew 28, verse 1. This goes with what Asaph was saying earlier, but you can't find no records. Matthew 28, verse 1.
Matthew 28 and verse 1. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
They came to visit Christ in his burial, thinking he was still buried when he was risen already. Go ahead.
And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it.
Go ahead.
His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow.
Go ahead.
And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and became as dead
So
men.
the keepers of that sepulchre, they were watching the sepulchre. The mission no one came to it. And they saw the angel descend from heaven, move the stone, and they were shook. They were scared. The guards. Go ahead. Watch this.
And the angel answered and said unto the woman, Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified.
Go ahead.
He is not here, for he is risen.
He's risen already. He's gone. Go ahead.
As he said, Come, see the place where the Lord lay.
Go ahead. So they went inside. Go ahead.
And go quickly, and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead.
Go ahead.
And behold, he goeth before you into Galilee. There shall ye see him. Lo, I have told you.
Go find him. He's not here no more. Go to Galilee. You'll find him over there. Go ahead.
And they departed quickly from the sepulchre with fear and great joy, and did run to bring his disciples word.
Go ahead.
And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying,
The women, go ahead.
All hail.
Hey, what's up? Go ahead.
And they came and held him by the feet and worshipped him.
Go ahead.
Then said Jesus unto them, Be not afraid. Go tell my brethren that they go into Galilee, and there shall they see me.
Watch this. Read verse 11 to 15 slow. Watch the people imagine a vain thing right here. Watch.
Now when they were going, behold, some of the watch came into the city, and showed unto the chief priests all the things that were done.
They told them, listen, an angel came, moved the stone, his body ain't there, he's gone. Watch, go ahead.
And when they were assembled with the elders,
This is the rules of the people, go ahead.
and had taken counsel, they gave large money unto the soldiers,
They paid the soldiers off. Go ahead, watch.
saying, Say ye,
We want, you ain't see no angel. This stone ain't enrolled. No, you ain't see none of that. See that going right there? You ain't see nothing. Say this instead, watch.
saying, Say ye, his disciples came by night,
You saw the disciples come by night. Go ahead, you think they came by night.
and stole him away while we slept.
You're going to say to the people, at nighttime, the disciples came and they took the body out of there. Angel didn't show up. That didn't happen. That's conspiracy theory. Ooh, it didn't happen. Go ahead.
And if this come to the governor's ears, we will persuade him and secure you.
Because by law, they'll be put to death for not guarding the sepulchre correctly. So listen, don't worry about that. We pay you off. We got you. You won't get killed. Just tell that story. You didn't see an angel. Christ didn't rise from the dead. The disciples came at night and they took him away. That's where his body went. They stole it. Go ahead.
So they took the money.
They got paid off. Go ahead.
And did as they were taught. And this saying is commonly reported among the Jews until this day.
That's why I don't believe in Christ. Because the Satan and the Pharisees and the heathen did the exact same thing. There is no God. They hid all records of him existing. There's no Red Sea. There's no ark. Here's the money. Teacher's no ark. It's the same thing. The heathen they behaved themselves strangely. The heathens and Jake were all together on this nonsense. Because if he exists, they're gonna have faith in him. He rose from the dead. They'll go against Rome if that's true. That spreads. Now hide that. Hold that. Nah. You gotta stay in power here. That's why you got wicked Israelites in the United Nations. Going along with that, there's no Noah's Ark, there's no Red Sea, that's all lies. Israel did the same thing to heathens. That's why you won't find no bodies. Records of us exist. You find a few things here and there. Yeah, it mentions, get that website now, I'll show you. Now, this is Israel, they call it the Israel Stella in Egypt. This is Merneptah. This is Ramses' son, Merneptah. That's his name. Something like that. I want you to read what it says in the Stella. That's the Stella right there. Merneptah Stella. All right, I want you to read what it says on there. Because remember, once again, they're saying we can't find record of slaves. They don't know Israelites only here. It's a myth. That's not really what it means. There's some records of them, but we're not really sure. Esau's guesses, lies. Read what it says on it. It says written on there. Jump down, revisionists, right there. Read the nation of Israel in Egypt. Read that right there.
Revisionists insisted there was no such entity as Israel until at least the 9th century BCE.
See that? That's their saying. Israel did not exist in Egypt. It did not exist because by saying that proves that they went through the Red Sea. Their God saved them. Their God exists. No, we gotta hide that. No. Go ahead.
Yet a well-known Egyptian inscription.
A what? A well-known what?
Egyptian inscription.
But the Egyptians wrote this. Go ahead.
The Israel Stella dates to about 1210 BCE and clearly identifies an Israel in the land of Canaan as the people that had to be reckoned with. The inscription depicts the victories of Pharaoh Merneptah in Canaan, reads in part.
Because he was a child. When Israel got out of Egypt, he was a child. We exiled during Ramses II. So he was a child during that time. So when we went to the Red Sea and it closed on his military, he thought we got closed in there too. So he says this, read.
In quotes, Israel is laid waste. His seed is no more.
They're destroyed. This and that today. Israel's no more. They cast away. It's the same thing being said. It didn't really exist. We don't really know if they exist. It's on the Stella. He mentions Israel being laid waste. On the Stella in 1210 BC. So Israel existed in Egypt, but they hide enough artifacts to go, well, that could be a mistranslation. We're not really certain. We don't really know. But it's written right there. It's written on the Stella that Israel was there. But not enough evidence is there because they want to keep that miracle a secret. You understand? Go to the next one. Go to the Ark now. Now
That's a good point.
This is Natural Geographic here. Okay, Natural Geographic. It says Noah's Ark found in Turkey is a question mark. Now, that's Esau puts that question mark there to make you think it's mystical. They found the damn thing. Read it right there, expedition. Shem, please. Damn lies, man.
Noah's Ark found in Turkey. The expedition team is 99.9% sure.
Those who went there are 99% sure. Go ahead.
So wait a minute, that gets rid of the question mark.
Yeah.
The question mark is disappearing after you got 99.9. There ain't no question mark no more.
Right. Read the next book. What's that spot say?
Others, well, aren't.
Others who ain't go. Others who ain't been there. Jump down. Jump down. More. These are now. It says these are evangelical Christian explorers. These are biblical archaeologists. Biblical archaeologists they be destroying evolutionary archaeologists all the time.
Bad dudes.
Bad. Thorough. Read it says. What does it says? Go down. Right there. Stop. Right there. Read what he said right there. Right there. I don't know.
In quotes, I don't know of any expedition that ever went looking for the ark and didn't find it.
It's right there. On the mountain. It's huge. I'm gonna show you. Read it again.
I don't know of any expedition that ever went looking for the ark and didn't find it.
Go ahead.
Said Paul Zemansky, an archaeologist specializing in the Middle East at Stony Brook University in New York City.
These guys study Middle Eastern history. Now go down more. Go down some more. Right there. Now read right there. Turkish and Chinese explorers who also went there.
Turkish and Chinese explorers from a group called Noah's Ark Ministries International made the latest discovery claim Monday in Hong Kong, where the group is based.
Now they found it, but America's like, nah, keep that where you're at. Keep it where you're at. Over there, it's known because they don't care about the Bible. They have their own gods that they worship, whatever. But they found it. Read this.
It's not 100% that it is Noah's Ark. We think it's 99.9% that it is. Yang Wing Chung. That's it. Yang Wing Chung.
Yeah, Moab man. Go ahead.
A filmmaker accompanying the explorers told the Daily Mail.
So they found it. Now go to Sunny, go down to Sunny, yeah, there you go. Now, blow that up. Now read what it says here right there, the top.
It says Noah's Ark has been found. Why are they keeping us in the dark?
The they is America. Because everybody else was always there. Everybody else went there and found it. Chinese found it. The Russians, whoever, Zelensky, what else was that? Russia.
Wait. Why are they keeping the people in the dark? I'm going to ask you. Why are they keeping the people in the dark?
Like Psalms 83, taking it to moat with the hidden ones.
Right. It brings credit to who. It brings attention to the Israelites. That's what it brings. That was the point. That's the point.
Go down. Go up. You scrolled up by accident. Go up. There we go. Now read that right there. 1959. 19. Go up. Read what it says right there.
How it was discovered. 1959. Turkish Army Captain Leon Durapinar discovered an unusual shape while examining aerial photographs of his country. The smooth shape, larger than a football field, stood out from the rough, rocky terrain of an altitude of 6,300 feet near the Turkish border with Iran.
So now wait a minute. You cannot hide that. Look at it there. Look at it. It's sitting right there. It's in the mountain because remember the wood after a while it deteriorates. But it's 3 stories high. So some of it got covered in mud. It's encased in the mountain. So that's the bottom. That's the middle of it. The top is gone, but the shape is still there. You see the bottom, the top, the front is pointy like a ship. Read on.
Captain Durapinar was familiar with the biblical accounts of the Ark and its association with Mount Ararat in Turkey.
You got dummy Egyptologists talking about this in Caucasus Mountains. Egyptologists saying this and they're getting applause. It's simple as hell. It's in Turkey. Go ahead.
But he was reluctant to jump to any conclusion.
He didn't want to say, okay, it's the Ark, but he don't get too excited. So he did some more research. Go ahead.
The region was very remote, yet it was inhabited with small villages. No previous report of an object this odd had ever been made before. So he forwarded the photographic negative to a famous aerial photography expert named Dr. Brandenburger at Ohio State University. Brandenburger was responsible for discovering the Cuban missile bases during the Kennedy era from reconnaissance photos. And after carefully studying the photo, he concluded...
Hold. So that means this man has military credentials.
Right.
But during the Cuban Missile Crisis, that's what he's talking about.
Go ahead. Okay. In my entire career. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Read it again. Brandenburger was responsible for
discovering the Cuban missile bases during the Kennedy era from reconnaissance photos. And after carefully studying the photo, he concluded, I have no doubt at all that this object is a ship. In my entire career, I have never seen an object like this on a stereo photo.
So that 99.9% is over. It's 100% the ship. Jump down. We'll get to the point. Go down more. Down. It says how long. Go back. It says how big it is. Right there. First part. Read that right there.
The visual evidence. The first part of the survey was to examine the object and take its measurements. The shape looked like a hull of a ship. One end was pointed as you would expect from bow, below CD. You screw it, and the opposite end was blunt like a stern. The distance from bow to stern was 515 feet, or exactly 300 Egyptian cubits.
Watch this.
The average width was 50 cubits.
Watch this.
These were the exact measurements mentioned in the Bible.
They found the ship. It's right there in the mountain. That's the petrified wood right there and around it like that. That's what that is. And it's under that. It's under there. They went in there and they found animal remains and feces in there. When they climbed down the bottom in the whole middle of the ship, they found ribs. They found nails in the wood. Go down. Go down. I'm just gonna go down a little more. See them climbing down? That's the ribs of the ship. In the stone. Go up. Read the bottom part right there.
Remember? You want to remember? You want to
remember the point.
Remember that this object, if it is the ark, is extremely old. The wood has been petrified.
Meaning turned to stone. Fossilized, exactly. Go ahead.
Organic matter has been replaced by minerals from the earth. Only the shapes and traces of the original wood remain. Perhaps this is why the expedition in 1960 was disappointed. They anticipated finding and retrieving chunks of wood long since eroded.
So they were looking in the right place. They had to dig, and they found it. Read it. No, matter of fact, go down some more.
You got to ask yourself the question. You see what these researchers, you know how much money it takes to go over there and do all that excavation? The Negro won't even pick up a book. But these guys, I want y'all to understand the mission that these people went on. They went, you know how much money it costs to go over there and fly and get on those mountains with all these excavationists and using surveying equipment and all that stuff costs millions of dollars. That's a lot of money it takes to do that, to go over there and do that. Y'all follow what I'm saying? And a lot of us don't even want to read a book.
Read that right there. Read using the artifacts retrieved from the ark. Read that.
Using GPR, Ron Wyatt discovered an open cavity on the starboard side. He used an improvised drill to make core sample inside this cavity and retrieve several very interesting objects.
Hold. See, improvised drill. You know what that means? A drill especially made for that particular thing there. He had to modify the drill. That's what improvised means. Improvised meaning that before that there was no such drill made for this particular work. So he had to create the drill to make this so he can do what he's doing. That's what I'm talking about. You're hearing certain things that's going on. Why? To prove this wreckage right here. And a lot of us treating it like it's garbage. Go ahead.
On the left.
Below, you can see the artifacts which were sent for laboratory analysis.
There we go.
On the left is the borehole, see below, followed by what turned out to be a let me read that again, hold up. On the left is the borehole, see below, followed by what turned out to be petrified animal dung.
Why? Because there were animals in there. Go ahead.
Then a petrified antler, and lastly, a piece of cat.
There are animals in there. Go down.
Different ones.
Different types.
Perhaps.
Read on. So second. Some part I want about how smart Noah was. Yeah, read that right there. Read that right there. Watch this.
Perhaps the most significant find from the ark itself is a piece of petrified wood. When this was first found, it appeared to be a large beam, but upon closer examination, it is actually 3 pieces of plank that have been laminated together with some kind of organic glue. This is the same technology used in modern plywood. Lamination makes the total strength of the wood much greater than the combined strength of the pieces.
Noah was a genius. Read this. Watch this.
Lime and pitch.
This suggests a knowledge of construction far beyond anything we knew existed in the ancient world.
That's how genius our father was. Noah. He was a scholar in construction of the boat. Jump down. He still thinks that he's a genius. Oh man, this is far beyond us. No, you dumb as hell. You left behind. Our forefathers knew this stuff already. You just figured it out. Jump down, down. Right there. Read that right there. Right there. That's it. Right there. You stop right there.
But wait, there's more. The most surprising find was discovered with sensitive metal detectors. The team located several strong hits that, when dug up, revealed large disc-shaped rivets. From simple observation of the metal, it was possible to see where the rivet had been hammered after being inserted through a hole.
It's right there. See, they made rivets. Screws. Noah had giant screws. He created giant screws for a giant ship. Construction team not needed.
When there was no Home Depot.
Right. All right, so we're going to start with that. Go to the next one, the Black Obelisk. No, I'm sorry, Hezekiah's tunnel. That right there is Hezekiah's tunnel. They say there's no record of its existing. Well, they found a tunnel, Hezekiah. King Hezekiah built a conduit of a water passage to go through underground, like Ephraim did over here in the Americas. Did the same thing over here. I mean, in the Middle East. Read it right there.
Hezekiah's Tunnel by Pharrell Jenkins, published by Biblical Insights in 2006. Hezekiah was the king of Judah at a very critical point in history of the nation. 715 to 687, 86 BC. The Assyrians destroyed Samaria in 722 BC, and then moved south into Judah. Sennacherib in one of his prisms, claims to have taken 46 Judean cities. The most famous of these was Lachish. When Sennacherib, did I say that right? Sennacherib returned to Nineveh, he had the walls of his palace decorated with the siege of Lachish.
Of destroying, of conquering us. Read it right there. See that? That's the well that Hezekiah built. The entrance to the spring. He built that. The stairs going underground. We built that. It didn't build itself. Jump down. Is there more on that? Let's go down. There's some more. The tunnel right there. Go down.
Hold it. Wait, what?
There's an Edomite in there, all happy, being in our inventions. There's an inscription on the walls. On the walls right there. Okay, we wrote there an inscription. All right, go ahead. See, on the walls there. And that's him inside. That's the Edomite inside. The Siloam exit that we built also. That's all we want. Go ahead. I want the Black Obelisk next.
Yeah, what was that? We was reading about some kind of
laywood.
The laywood. That what did it say about that wood? What did it say about that chemical or something? Right, that's the word. Organic glue. The word that the Bible.
Examination.
Right there.
Okay.
Examination reveals the glue oozed from the layers.
The glue. What is the glue that he's talking about? The Bible records it as pitch.
Right.
When the Most High gave Noah the instructions on building it, he said you ought to use pitch on the inside and the outside of it. So I looked the word pitch up, and it'll tell you what it is. picture says it's a viscous, inflammable liquid associated with it, which was found in Mesopotamia and around the Dead Sea. It is used to make vessels watertight.
Mesopotamia, that's what Noah was at in that region.
Okay. So that's the lamination thing there. So when the Bible uses the term pitch, that's what it's talking about. That's in the verse. Let me just real quick.
Plywood, right?
Right. Just read the verse and you'll know what I'm talking about. This is in the book of Genesis chapter 6 and verse 14, so you'll know. It said, make thee an ark of gopher wood, rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and thou shalt pitch it within and without with pitch.
Mm-hmm.
That's that glue.
That's that
that
glue.
it's talking about, that Noah used.
Yeah. Get the black obelisk one. Let me see that one. Go down. Almost done. Go down. Go up. Click that right there. Can you click it? All right. Now, once you blow it up, if you can. Now, this is the Assyrians recording like Manepa did his victories. The Assyrians did the exact same thing. They would record their victories and inscribe them on stone tablets. Go to map. Go to Google. Type in black obelisk on and then go to images. About his conquest of Lachish, the Jews of Lachish. Since we didn't exist. I guess the Assyrians is making things up. Where they could conquer invisible people. Simpletons. Wait. Go back to the other images. There's a whole bunch of them. Okay, let me see. That right there. That one right there. That's the black obelisk. Click that. That's King Jehu bowing down to the Assyrian king. Okay? Sennacherib. Well, I guess that didn't really happen. I guess he was just drawing that for fun. He was drawing comic books. That's him bowing down. Alright? To the Assyrians on the left, that's Israel on the right. Go up to the next one that you see brothers in braids and beards. Go back. That's Lachish. Go back. Go to that one to the left. Right there, the middle one. That's us right there. See the garments? See the fringes on the bottom? Going all around the garment, not in four corners, like the bastards do. All right? What's that? King Jethro of Israel. King Jehu of Israel. See, that's them going to the king, and then later on he's bowing down to him. All right, carrying their shofars, carrying horns on their shoulders. Go to the next one. Go back. Right, tributaries. And then bag of money also. Go down to... Right. Yeah, that's the one. Get that? 2 Kings 20:20. That's it right there. That's it right there. That's the picture. That's the... See them? Look at their hair. All beat it up. Afros, beards, and that's an Assyrian soldier leading them into captivity. That's the Jews of Lachish he was talking about. Get 2 Kings real quick, 20. Hezekiah building the underground conduit, and we're going to go to Psalm 64 and Deuteronomy 33. We're going to end it. 2 Kings what? What is it? 20?
20 and verse 20.
Right, read that.
And the rest of the acts of Hezekiah, all his might, and how he made a pool and a conduit, and brought water into the city.
There we go.
Are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah?
Yeah. Did not Esau find it? Go ahead.
And Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and Manasseh his son reigned in his stead.
Right, so it's written in the scriptures and they found it. Now, go to Psalm 64 and verse 8. Yeah, start, yeah. Matter of fact, read verse 6. Read verse 6.
Psalm 64 and verse 6.
Because y'all saw Esau in that Hezekiah was that, right? You saw him there smiling. Alright, watch. Read this.
They search out iniquities.
Now they search out all ancient civilizations, including ours, to find pagan customs for the world to follow. And call it Christmas and New Year's. Alright, and Mother's Day and Father's Day. And they also, in the midst of that, find archaeological, biblical evidence of us existing and our kings existing. In the ark. Go ahead.
They accomplish a diligent search.
And as you can see, they're successful in their searches. The archaeological digs and findings. Go ahead.
Both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep.
Because they think ahead. We're gonna hide this. We're gonna let that go out. Hide this, because if they found that their God exists, they'll have faith in a God. And if they have faith in God, they have faith in that Bible that leads them to that God. Let's hide this stuff. Their thoughts are deep. They think ahead. Go ahead.
But God God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly they shall be wounded.
You know what?
So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves.
Because they bring out evidence against themselves. They say there's no God, but then you find them out there digging up evidence that there is a God. So their tongue falls upon themselves. They fall to contradictions of themselves. Read it again.
But God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly they be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away.
Means stay away from them. They're lies. Go to Deuteronomy 33 and 29. Deuteronomy 33 and 29. So when we find these things, you realize that they're liars. Native Americans are savages. Lies. You said earlier that they had civilizations. Their tongue fall upon themselves. Liars. 33 and 29.
Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 29. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency. And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee.
Shall be found what?
Shall be found liars unto thee.
Today you found that they're liars. God exists, the ark exists, Israel existed in Egypt. They're all liars. Go ahead.
And thou shalt tread upon their high places.
Eventually we're going to destroy the hell out of them and enslave them and let them know our God always existed. And you're nothing. As you always have been from the beginning. You will be so again. Alright? So with that we're going to end it. We're going to break bread.
Shalom, brothers, and shalom, sisters. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. As many of you are finding out, Christianity has destroyed our people. For the past 400 years, we have been indoctrinated in lies. Those lies of Christianity have not benefited our people in the least bit. Many of you know this. So, like Christ said in John chapter 3, verse 3, he said, except ye be born again, you shall not inherit the kingdom of heaven. So in order to inherit the kingdom of heaven, which shall be established on earth, you must be born again. What does that mean? Many of you always quote that, but you don't understand what that means. When you go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, verse 34, Ezra said, therefore, if so be that ye will subdue your own understanding, meaning subdue all that you have learned here in Babylon the Great, it says, and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive. What does that mean? Meaning you must be taught all over again, taught your nationality, taught why it is that we as a people went into slavery here in America. Who are we? What is the mystery of why this country, these nations have changed our nationality? We here at Israel United in Christ, we have classes 7 days a week, 3 times a day. All for what? For your learning, for your edification. You will learn things never taught to you before. You will learn history. You will learn prophecy. And more importantly, you will learn the dynamics of what you need today to survive as a people. 1/3 of Israel is prophesied to repent of their sins and come into this truth. So now we need you, brothers and sisters. Come, join us here at IsraelUnite.org. Go to our online classes and register. This is for you. This is for the redemption of the 12 tribes of Israel, brothers and sisters. I hope you understand that. Isaiah chapter 62 verse 6 says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silent. And brothers and sisters, we are not keeping silence. So come join us. Help us build this truth. Donate to us so that we can keep this truth on and on. Push it forward. Help us get this gospel out, because Christ said when this gospel is taught throughout the earth, then shall the end come. So with that, brothers and sisters, we say shalom.